Hello, my name is Amaris Robles, and this presentation is on parenthood and children. What factors need to be considered when deciding whether to parent or not? There are many different factors that are considered when deciding on whether to or not to become a parent or parents. One of the main topics that our text discusses is rewards and costs of parenthood. One of the rewards of becoming a parent would be being able to use your children or child as an economic asset. This means that the child can actually be used in a parent's taxes at the end of the year, and parents are actually rewarded money or a tax break just solely from having children. Another topic that our text discusses is becoming a parent can certify one's attainment of adulthood. This means that once you have a child, you are really seen as an adult because you're now caring for another life, not solely caring for yourself as an individual. Although adulthood may come when a person moves out of their parents' house and into their own home, but their full responsibility as an adult doesn't truly come in until they are caring for the other life. A lot of parents are also feeling that their life has an important purpose now that they have a child. It gives them that sense of purpose because now they do have a child and they have to learn to nurture this child and raise them. And it also applies to families of different walks of life. In some studies, even couples of the same sex have reported that their life does gain that new purpose when they are allowed to have a child to raise in their family. How have trends in parenthood changed? Over the years, there have been many different trends that have changed in parenthood. One of the main ones would be when to have a child, earlier versus later. Our text describes how up until a few decades ago, the vast majority of people in the United States had their children in their early 20s. Having children earlier would give these parents freedom after they have raised their children, and in past decades, it would have been much easier economically for couples to have children earlier in life. When it comes to having children later in life, this could be due to a couple wanting to have a sense of personal development. This doesn't solely mean that they want to work on their career and advancing in their career, although this could also be a case, but they're focusing more on personal development and working on themselves in order to be good parents later on in life. There are some risks with waiting until later on to have children. One of them, and one of the main ones, would be the risk of not having them. This can be due to infertility, and this applies to both men and women. Another trend that has changed in parenthood would be how there are fewer than 61.4% of families that are actually married couples. More and more in recent years, there are people that are becoming parents and are single parents or are divorced parents that are co-parenting in some way. Advantages to parenting in the 21st century. There are a lot of different advantages to parenting in the 21st century, but there is one that I wanted to focus on primarily, and that would be technology. With the technology that we have in the 21st century, it makes it a lot easier for parents to know where their children are. There are apps such as Life 360 that can give information on location of children, how long they've been there. You're able to add different locations, and even for parents that have teen drivers, there are different ways of checking to see the speed of their teen drivers, and they are able to track if these teens are actually using their phone while they're driving. There's also programs that Apple has also created and developed, such as Find My Friends or Find My iPhone, that can also aid parents in being able to track their children's whereabouts, not only to have that sense of peace of knowing where their children are, but it also gives them the ability to see what their children are doing, if they're being truthful or not to their whereabouts and such. There are also growing programs in children's education. This can be programs in high school such as STEM, which allows students to learn more about science, technology, mathematics. There's also different options such as trade schools, colleges, and universities that are opening their doors and broadening their education systems for the coming generations as well. What are some challenges to parenting in the 21st century? There are a lot of different challenges. One of them would be a growing society. There's many different lifestyles and different conflicting views that are more prominent now in the 21st century than they were even in past decades. For example, there are different views on what marriage should be, or even different views on a woman's place in the family as well as a man's place in the family, whether or not men and women should be treated equally in workplaces and such. This article written by Catherine Solis in her account on child rearing describes how parenting in this age also means teaching children about common good. She says, in addition, the language of contributed justice shapes moral imagination. It directs parents to orient their children rearing toward participation rather than individual advantage, and it reminds all members of the critical significance of child welfare for the good of society. And she also goes on to quote Neil Bernstein in regards to mass incarceration and saying that I haven't met a kid who doesn't deserve a parent. This is because there are many children in the United States that are actually growing up without any contact with their parents due to parents being incarcerated, and these children are seeing their parents as incarcerated, and it can go either one of two ways. They will see that this is okay, or they will feel that it is unjust for their parents to be behind bars. Finally, there is the issue of technology. Due to technology, there is bullying that can be involved, and this is in children of all ages. This type of bullying can cause children to harm themselves or even harm others. There's also texting and driving in young adults because of cell phones that most teenagers have. There's an increased amount in accidents. An article written by Daniel Scott Kahn says that 57% of teens admitted to driving and texting. 73% of teens agreed that texting and driving was very dangerous, but many continued to do so regardless, and 59% admitted to talking on the phone while driving. And also an 11% of people were admitted to drinking and driving, which also causes for concern for parents in the 21st century. Thank you.